Shana Tova, Chag Sameach, good Yom Tov, welcome. I remember standing here last year feeling good. The pandemic seemed behind us, more of you were present in person, and the presidential election felt distant. I cherished the thought of one last year with all my children at home before they go to college and grad school, and of course our final bar mitzvah. This anticipation of calm and joy lasted only briefly, before bursting like a bubble, leaving all of us covered with its sticky, unwashable residue made of pain, fear, and anger. Just 3 weeks after Rosh Hashanah, our sisters and brothers in the south of Israel experienced a pogrom of mass killing, kidnapping, and rape the Jewish people haven't seen for 80 years. The relentless bombardment of the north displaced tens of thousands, and only yesterday, 180 missiles were fired from Iran to the center of Israel. Miraculously, the damage was minimal. And in our country, anti-Semitism incidents quadrupled since October 7th. Jewish college students were attacked all over the country. And when some heads of the top universities were asked if calling for a genocide of Jews violates their school's rules, they answered, "It depends on the context." And here we are, a year later, the wounds remain open. 101 hostages are still in captivity. The Israelis from the north are still out of their homes, living in hotels and other temporary, inadequate houses. Our nephews who serve in combat units are moving from the southern border to the north and back again, keeping their parents up at night. And all Israelis are embracing themselves for another barrage of Iranian missiles. I don't expect anti-Semitism to go away in the near future. And I know that in 33 days, elections will divide us once more. Half of us will be devastated, a quarter happy, and another quarter hoping that they didn't make a horrible mistake. But tonight, I choose hope. I choose to marvel at Israel's resilience in the face of such aggression, and I feel a great sense of gratitude to the US for having Israel's back. I also feel good because we are here together. It was a very lonely year for us, Jews. We felt betrayed and unsupported by supposed allies. Yet tonight, when we are here together, I don't feel lonely. I feel a sense of belonging as I'm surrounded by love and support. I'm around people who understand my pain, who share my fears and hopes without my having to say anything because they feel the same. I'm aware that the term tribalism has a negative connotation these days, but this year I was looking forward to the high holidays when the people of my tribe come together. Some of you were born into the tribe, some chose to join it later in life, yet others simply find comfort in our company. But everyone who is here tonight and in the next 10 days shares our basic values and our love and commitment to the Jewish people. I'm praying with all my heart that when I stand before you next Rosh Hashanah Eve, I will welcome you with a long list of joys and blessings for our people wherever they may be. May this new year bring us strength, resilience, a renewed hope. May we find comfort in our shared heritage and in the bonds that tie us together. And may we emerge from these challenging times with a deeper appreciation for God's gifts and the enduring spirit of our people. Amen. I would like to invite now Arlene and Mark Slifkin to lead us in the candle lighting. Let's welcome the new year together. We enter these days of awe as pilgrims on a journey to hear the voice of God that echoes from within. We enter these days of awe as seekers on a mission to discover the voice of God that echoes from beyond. We enter these days of awe as adventurers on a quest to reach a sacred place where the voice of God within sings blessings in harmony with the voice of God beyond. Eloheinu ואלוהי אבותינו, יהי רצון שנזכה לברכותיך בשנת 5785. אלוהי עולם ברך אותנו ואת כל בית ישראל בחידוש ימינו בשמחה ובשלום, בנחמה ובאומץ לב, בחימוץ עצמות וברוח איתנה. יהי פרי שפתנו מקובל ורצוי מלפניך בפרוס השנה החדשה, לעד מודים אנחנו לך על מתנת החיים. Our God and God of our ancestors,
may we know your blessing
in the year 5785, Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. May the words of our hearts be acceptable to you in the new year that stretches before us. We are forever grateful for the gift of life. Please rise for the Baruch Hu. And let's take a moment to turn to the people next to us, behind us, in front of us, and wish each other Shana Tova, Happy New Year. The son of a Rebbe who lived in the late 1700s, Rabbi Moshe Leib Erlblich, one time found himself in an inn next to two peasants, and they were drinking a lot. At one point, one of them put his arm around the other one and said, "Boris, do you love me?" And Boris said, "Of course I love you. We've been drinking buddies for so many years." He said, "But Boris, if you really love me, can you tell me what causes me pain?" Boris said, "How do I know? We're just drinking buddies." The son of a Rebbe who listened to them went back to his students and said, "Real love is when we know what causes someone pain, what makes them suffer. God, when we allow God in, knows what causes us pain, knows what breaks our hearts. God is not going to take the pain away, but may make it more bearable. God also knows what makes us happy, what brings us joy. And when we bring God in, our joy is elevated. I would like to invite all of you this coming year to bring God in. Some of you might be angry, disappointed. God wants us to invite God in. I invite you now to close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Breathe in again and breathe out the pain, the frustrations, the anxieties of the past year. And invite God in. Share with God your pain, your simchas, your happiness. Ask any question and listen to what God has to say to you in the beginning of the new year. Ask God for a blessing for yourself, for your family, for your community, for your country, for our people, for all humankind. And still with our eyes closed, let's say the words of Shema Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Thus you shall remember to do all of my commandments, and be holy for your God. I am Adonai your God, who led you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Come Grant, O God,
that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and our coming to life and to peace.
Shelter us in place, shelter us in peace. Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הדם, מחכה לחיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. Adonai,
Many years ago, when I was still living in New York, I attended a Christmas service led by my friend Pastor John. I was really eager for him to get to the sermon because it was a big year. We still felt the effect of September 11th, invasion to Afghanistan. People were talking about weapon of mass destruction. Should we start an Iraq war? Remember these times? Pastor John starts talking, and the first thing he says was a question. He said, "Do you know what's the real meaning of Christmas?" I'm not an authority in that. And he didn't really wait for me or anyone to answer. He said, "Christmas really means spreading the good word, spreading the word of Jesus." And he continued with a beautiful message about all the nice teachings of Jesus. And I couldn't believe. Not a word about wars, about tension, about terrorism, nothing. And I knew that it would never have worked out well for me in a synagogue. First of all, because it would be really weird when a rabbi talks about Christmas on Rosh Hashanah. But mainly because, Jews want to hear about serious stuff. Right? You have anti-Semitism. We have conflicts in the Middle East. We have so many things. But as I was trying to put all the sermons that I had originally prepared for the high holidays, and you can trust me this year, it was not hard to find sermon topics. I recalled Pastor John, and I was thinking to myself, maybe he was onto something. Especially for me, because we were always laughing because Pastor John prepared one sermon for Christmas that he gave 4 times because he had 4 identical services. We have to prepare 4 sermons that each one we give only once. So I was thinking maybe in order to usher this really difficult year, it wouldn't be a bad idea to start with some good words. After all, we have a very important principle in Judaism that we don't like to pay attention to. It's called hakarat hatov, recognition of the good. We like to kvetch, right? To complain more, but it's fine. But hakarat hatov is really important. But what is tov? What was good this year? The theme that we chose, Temple Beth Am chose for this coming year, is taken from the Mishnah, from about almost 2,000 years ago, when the Mishnah says, "Da me'ain bata ve'le'an ata olech." In order to be a serious person, a serious Jew, you first have to know minayin bata, where you came from and where you are going. So tonight I'm going to talk about where we came from, or in other words, I'm going to share with you what I believe to be the 7 most important contributions of the Jewish people to the world. These are not just simple gifts. Some of these things today we take for granted, but we brought them to the world. They did not exist before us. And why 7? Only because it's a nice Jewish number. You can make other lists and include other things. Number 1, ethical monotheism. It's not just monotheism, belief in one God, but ethical monotheism. The idea is that this one God expects us to follow a universal moral code. God wants us to be good, not just to know that God is one. You take it for granted, right? It wasn't the case before. And the most important lesson from the beginning of the Bible, from the Torah, is Vayivra Elohim et ha'adam betzalmo, and God created humankind in the divine image, creating it in the image of God, creating them male and female. Each human being was created in the image of God. This is the foundations of the idea of equality, the idea that we all have value in the sight of God. This is big. And from there, we go to number 2, freedom. What is the biggest story in the whole Bible? The Exodus. Right? We're slaves and God freed us. Slavery is bad. And why is that? Because if God created all of us, it makes no sense for some people to own other people, for some countries to oppress others. Now, the Exodus story is not just for us Jews to talk about during Passover. It inspired dozens of societies, of social movements. This is part of our American history. You know, when the patriots, those who wanted to separate from England, it was not so easy to convince everyone that they were right. I read many documents in which they used the Bible, they used this idea. For them, King George III was Pharaoh. The British Army were the Egyptians. Who was Moses? George Washington. Okay? The Atlantic Sea was the Red Sea in the Exodus story. What they were conveying was that freedom from England is not just a good political idea, it's actually what God wanted them to do, and if they do what God wanted them to do, God will make them successful. Worked out quite well. But this is a fundamental Jewish principle. And where can you find this beautiful verse, Philly people? Liberty Bell. Okay? Proclaim liberty throughout all the land. If you go and see this semi-broken bell, that's what you see. Number 3, since we're free and we're equal, democratization of literacy, of education. You see, the Jews, 2,000 years before anyone else, said that every person has the right, if not the obligation, to be educated. Back then, the only people who could read were the priests and the kings. Nobody else. It's much easier to control illiterate people, but not for the Jews. We just said it in Hebrew and in English, right? It's from the Shema. Teach them to your children, recite them when you stay at home and when you're away, when you lie down and when you get up. It's an obligation for every parent to educate their children. That's why education is so important to the Jews and has been forever. It became part of our DNA. At the year of 75 BCE, some 2,100 years ago, Rabbi Simeon ben Shattach said that every child starting at the age of 6 must be educated. And at 64 CE, Ben Gamla instituted schools in each and every district. Really, 2,000 years before people started to do it in the Western world. And more than that, even poor kids who cannot afford tuition have to study. And that became the obligation of the community to find the funds with which to educate them. Because we're all equal. We all deserve education. But now when you're educated, and that's something super Jewish, we love to debate. We established a culture of debate in a good way. It's called machloket l'shem shamayim, debate for the sake of heaven. The Talmud, the edition that I have in my study, has 72 volumes. You can just imagine how much is written in the Talmud is filled with debates. That rabbi said that, the other disagreed, this dissent. They were hardly interested in the final solution. They love this debate. And that's why we established this critical thinking. We love to question, we like to dissent. Can we see the next verse? This is a beautiful story when God went to Abraham and said, Abraham, I'm going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah because they are wicked people. What did Abraham say? Abraham came forward to God and said, will you sweep away the innocent along with the guilty? Said, God, no, you cannot do it. And they started debating. That has been our tradition. That's why sometimes it's hard to raise Jewish kids, because they like to argue back all the... But this is what we brought to the world, and I'll talk much more about it tomorrow when I'm talking about colleges. Remember it. This is who we are. This is part of the culture. And the next one is peoplehood. See, people often ask me, I don't understand, they say. The Arabs have 22 countries. There's a tiny Israel. Why can't they take care of the Palestinians? And I try to explain to them that they don't think like us. They don't have the sense of peoplehood that we have. What do I mean by that? For us, we're all connected. All the Jews around the world have this connection. How many of you yesterday couldn't take a breath around 12:30 when you heard that missiles were coming from Iran to Israel? Not only those of us who have families there, but oh my God, our Jews were being attacked. How many of you worked in order to release the Russian Jews, the refuseniks? When we heard that the Jews in Ethiopia, none of you has ever heard about Jews in Ethiopia before, but when they were in trouble, there was an amazing collaboration between the State of Israel and the American Jews to release them from Ethiopia and to bring them to Israel. This is a sense of peoplehood that we take for granted, but this is ours. And in this country, in America, we took it one step forward with hyphenation. Because the Jews came and said, we're not just Jews, we're not just Americans, we are Jewish Americans or American Jews. Again, today we take it for granted. We talk about African Americans and Asian Americans, but it started with the Jews. The Jews said, we don't need to choose. We can be perfectly good Jews and perfectly good, loyal Americans, hence the hyphen. We brought it to this country, to this culture. You know, Napoleon told the Jews, yeah, you can have full rights, but you have to tone down your Jewishness, either French or Jewish. Not here in America. We're Jewish and American. The next thing, oh, I didn't see that doesn't matter. The next thing, yeah, no, I have a timer there, so I know when I... The same gift that we gave the world is the idea of messianism, not in the way that you think, but in what we refer to as tikkun olam, the idea that we are not satisfied with the status quo of the world, and that we have to do something about it. We look around and said, that's not good. Too many wars, too much violence, too many diseases, too much poverty. This is not good. I had a teacher, some of you may have heard of him, Arthur Hertzberg, who said that, there's a very small difference between Jews and Christians. Both of us believe that the Messiah will come. Only that for the Christians, it will be the second coming of the Messiah, and for the Jews, the first coming of the Messiah. But there is something really big about the idea that the Messiah has not yet come, because when the Messiah comes, it means that the world will turn into paradise. We cannot argue that the world is paradise. And therefore, it is our obligation to do what we can together with God in order to repair the world. Because we believe that the world can be a better place. It's not yet. It can be, it should be, when we and God work together. And the last thing is hope. What is the anthem of the State of Israel? Hatikva, which means hope. I don't believe that there were nations that suffered as much as we did. But no matter what, we never lost hope. But here's a definition of hope that I'm using. It's a definition of Rabbi Jonathan Sachs. He asked, what's the difference between optimism and hope? Optimism means, I believe things will be good or better. Hope means that if I do the right thing, and are the people with me, then things may be good. To sit and pray, no, that's not hope. But to do what we can, and prayer can be part of it. I'm here in the synagogue on Rosh Hashanah. I'm not saying prayer is bad. But we don't just sit and hope and ask God to do our work. We believe that if we do what we need to do, things will be better. And these are, my friends, tremendous gifts. Of course, they were filtered by other religions, other cultures, but the world would have been a completely different place, much worse, in my opinion, without these 7 gifts. Let's just look at them again. Ethical monotheism. We were created in the image of God. We should all be free. Freedom also means freedom to think, to question, to disagree. Universal literacy. Education does not belong only to the elite. Everyone has the right. Arguments for the sake of heaven, a culture of debate, peoplehood. All Israel are responsible for each other. Tikkun olam. The world is far from being perfect. Up to us. Not to finish the work, but to do all that we can. And hope. Even at the end of a year like that. So my friends, these are the good words that I chose to share with you tonight. It's the beginning of learning where we came from. And with these gifts, I think we can start planning where we will be going. Shana Tova.
Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. dream. I see who you are, just like you. I get lost sometimes and I forget what I came here to do. So I keep on trying. When it gets frightening, look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good. Look for the good. Look for the good in everyone. Everyone is nature. Everyone is God. Everyone is love and light and vibration. Look for the good. Look for the good. Everyone gets mad sometimes, and maybe they should. Look for the good. Look for the good. Yeah, look out for all the heroes in your neighborhood. Look for the good. Look for the good. Life would sure be sweeter if everybody would look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. Look for the good in everyone. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good. Look for the good. Look for the good in everyone.
Please rise for Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, hear our voice.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu Lefanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu, Ve'al Olaleinu V'tapenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Dever V'cherev Ve'ra'av Me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Kol Tsar U'mastin Me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kotveinu B'sefer Chayim Tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Va'anenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Asei manu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshi'enu.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love. Avinu Malkeinu, לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוסף ראשית, שלא עשה כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
We continue with the mourner's Kaddish, Kaddish Yatom. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיא, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. Want to thank our musicians who are here with us for the whole holidays. Thank you all so much. And our media team, who is also working so hard. And a special thank you to Jupiter Police Department and Palm Beach County Sheriff, who have been sending more officers and cars than we even asked and paid for. They know it's, yeah, scary times, and they're up to the task. So thank you, and when you see them, you may thank them as well. Thank you for starting the new year with us. It's really a wonderful, heartwarming experience to be among so many of our friends. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., and we conclude our service with Hashkiveinu.